कह रही हैं, सीधा रुक कर लेते हैं।
And creditor in control model. Earlier, it was more creditor in control alone. Now, debtor will be still sitting in the board and running his company. The creditor initiated insolvency framework enables this process. So the management continues to vest in the existing board of directors. It's not as if you have to change all of them. The management continues to vest in the existing board of directors or partners, but with safeguards and defined timelines. Additionally, this set of amendments also introduces an enabling framework for group insolvency, cross-border insolvency, to promote investor confidence, and also aligning domestic practices with best international practices. Sir, as you are aware, on 11th August 2025, the bill was introduced in the Lok Sabha. It was referred to a select committee under your guidance of the Lok Sabha under the chairmanship of Baijayant Panda, Honorable Member, and the report of the select committee, which had done extensive consultation, was presented in the Lok Sabha on 17th December 2025. It made 11 major recommendations, all of which have been accepted by the government. Over and above that, we have brought in one more recommendation, and in that, the Committee of Creditors shall record the reasons. That's the 12th amendment that we are adding on. The 11 which came from Select Committee have all been accepted. The 12th that we are adding on is that the Committee of Creditors shall record the reasons for selecting an applicant as successful resolution applicant. So they have to record it. This will improve transparency. And so this has now come for after the Select Committee, the House is now considering the bill with all those amendments, 11 coming from the Select Committee, 1 from us. Sir, I now respond to all the honorable members who have raised any questions or sought clarification. A very important question which keeps occurring in the House, and many members keep asking us about it. I will take a minute to answer on it. It was raised by several members. Dhanorkar ji from INC, Virendra Singh ji from Samajwadi, Saugata Roy ji, Kalanidhi Viraswamy, and Bhaskar Bagare. Also Bhajanlal Jatav and Amra Ramji. All of them have raised this question on high haircuts, low recovery rates. On this, I would like to take a minute to say what IBC has actually contributed. The IBC, first of all, sir, IBC is a framework for rescuing viable businesses and resolving financial stress while preserving the enterprise value. It was never intended to be a debt recovery tool. It never claimed as the original intent of the IBC. Recovery values are a byproduct. So the main intention is to rescue viable businesses and make sure that we resolve the financial stress which they face. So the IBC process, therefore, naturally, is a market-driven process. Recoveries reflect underlying asset quality, commercial viability of the distressed enterprise. So basically, if the company's asset valuation itself is even at the point in time of admission very low, you can't boost up the value so much more and then say, I have given higher value. So it is very much dependent on the underlying asset quality and the commercial viability. IBC actually realizes 94.95 of the fair value of the company, and that fair value which was recorded at the time of admission. It can't be a fair value which we decide later when the valuation itself is falling and then say lower value suits me, so I'll take that, or higher value suits somebody else, we'll take that. Value, fair value at the time of admission, if we take that on board, 94.95% is recovered. through IBC process. So realization also is exceeding 171.54% of the liquidation value, which indicates recovery levels reflect the enterprise's distressed sale and state of on entry, and not a failure of the resolution framework. So as of December 2025, this is a data which many honorable members would like to hear. As of December 2025, IBC has facilitated resolution of 1,376 companies, enabling creditors to recover 4.11 lakh crores. So that is the record of IBC, and financial creditors have also seen recovery exceeding 34% of their claims. Second, sir, there are largely 10 issues. I'll quickly finish them. The second issue on which members have spoken is IBC is not effective. It's not achieving revival of the companies. Several members have spoken on it. So let's just see the numbers before us. Pre-admission settlements. The credible threat of losing one's ownership has nudged debtors to settle 32,179 cases prior to formal admission itself, because they fear that resolution professional will come and there will be a fair valuation, and after which the discussions will happen and then solution will come. So prior to that itself, prior to admission itself, debtors seem to want to settle them. So 32,179 cases have been settled, worth 14.62 lakh crores. This is not a small amount, and this has not come into the process. And because it's not come into the process, we tend to think, oh, where has that gone? Before getting admission, they have settled it pre-admission, and that is 14.62 lakh crore address. That is the underlying default which has been addressed. Sir, IBC has also led to better credit rating of companies. We can take the list of all the companies which have gone through the process and come out of it. Within a year, their credit rating has improved. Around 78% of the CIRPs ending in liquidation, which is, I'll tell you the reason, that is 2,251 out of 2,876 companies for which data is available, were all earlier with the BIFR, and they were already defunct. So when they got lock, stock and barrel moved on to the IBC process, and when the IBC process started working on them, that was the result that very many companies had to go for liquidation because there was no fair value to realize. And therefore the economic value in most of these companies had already completely eroded. In the year 2017-18, when the lock, stock, barrel shifting of all these BIFR cases had come over to IBC, it is true that for every one company resolved, 5 companies went into liquidation. That was 2017-18, because all the BIFR and DRT cases have all moved here. But that number has now changed, and in 24-25, sir, this ratio has substantially improved, and it has come to 1. So if there is one company going for resolution, the other one goes for liquidation, unlike the earlier 1:5. So there was a study done by IIM Ahmedabad, March 2026, to see what is happening to companies which have gone through the resolution process. Have they really survived? Have they improved their businesses? What is happening to them? IIM Ahmedabad study says, on the count of sales, 89% increase in 5 years post-resolution, indicating the revival of business operations, which is the main objective of the code. Then, if you were to look at asset turnover ratio, this study found that 131% increase has happened in the 5 years post-resolution, suggesting operational efficiency. This study also looked at the capex of such companies which came out of resolution. 106% increase in 5 years post-resolution, reflecting improved economic viability of the firm. Okay, with all this, are they removing the employees? Are they throwing out the employees after resolution? No. Employee expenses of such companies which came through the IBC resolution process, 72% increased, meaning more meaning expenditure on employees improving, employees' strength per unit of assets is 200% increase in 5 years. So no negative asset. On the contrary, you have more workers being taken on board by these companies which have come out of resolution. Finally, sir, this study also says market capitalization of resolved firms grew from 2.8 lakh crore rupees to 9 lakh crore rupees in 5 years post-resolution, reflecting investor confidence and growth prospects. So companies which have come out of a resolution process are actually doing much better, well, in all aspects, not just making profits, but taking care of their employees as well. Another study which was done by IIM Bangalore, sir, which was done in May 2025, it looked at how distressed and non-distressed firms are working. So it indicates, this study indicates a 3% reduction in cost of debt for distressed firms. That is versus non-distressed firms. If you were to look at those who have come out of the resolution process, 3% reduction in their cost and in the sense of cost of debt, indicating an improved credit environment for these distressed firms. So also corporate governance also improved post-resolution because they were now appointing more independent directors onto their board, which wasn't the case earlier. So post-resolution, companies are doing much, much better. The third issue, sir, promoters re-entering Section 29A getting diluted, it's becoming a washing machine. It's absolutely not right. I'm just tracing the stages of the 29A section. It prohibits willful defaulters, persons related to NPAs, and their connected parties from submitting any resolution plan. So they cannot come at all. Ineligible persons are willful defaulters, persons related to NPAs, persons against whom avoidance application orders have been made, and their connected parties. They cannot come in the resolution process. This prohibition also extends to sale of liquidation assets to such ineligible persons. Not that they can not give a bid for resolution, but even the property which is lying here, post-resolution also cannot be sold to them. So it's a clear keeping them out, the defaulters out. Then ineligibility criteria is also applicable to the pre-packaged insolvency resolution process as well. So they can't enter even in a pre-packaged situation, that is much before the admission itself. Even there, they are not eligible. A clean slate principle is what I want to highlight, sir. Proceedings against the corporate debtor normally halt on successful resolution. But proceedings against erstwhile promoters will continue for all other offenses that they have committed. So the new buyer will not be burdened, but the old buyer will not, old promoter or defaulter will not be let off. Creditor-initiated insolvency resolution process cannot be initiated for a corporate debtor after having bought the asset which went through the resolution process. Another creditor-initiated insolvency process cannot be taken up for the next 3 years. So you buy a company from a resolution process, and then immediately after that, will somebody come and levy a case on you or take you to the court? No, not for next 3 years can anyone come and disturb you. So the look-back period for avoidance transaction. Avoidance transaction are those which are when you have allotted preferential shares or undervalued your assets or fraudulent practices happen or extortionate behavior has happened. So these are the avoidance transactions. The look-back period for the avoidance transaction is expanded to cover a wider period, including those taking place during the initiation process. So even before admission, but once initiated, you can look back and take 2 years into consideration and see if any of these avoidance transactions have happened. You can claw back from that as well. So we are bringing it in favor of the company which needs the resolution. So the fourth issue which was raised was on NCLT delays, NCLT capacities and the constraints, timeline breaches. This is a very wajib, you say in Hindi, very right for them to raise this. Wajib concern hai sir, iska? Wajib concern hai. Wajibi. So primary cause of delay is extensive litigation. Delay के कारण बार-बार litigation होना और बहुत सारे litigation होना. Promoters tend to litigate or attempt settlements before the admission. Settle कर लेंगे. ऐसे कुछ लोग पीछे से आते हैं जो promoter, defaulting promoter के लोग हैं. Delaying admission. So parallel recovery processes also cause delays. So to overcome this, these are the following steps which are being taken in this set of amendments which is in the consideration. New penalty provisions are being brought in. What are they? Minimum 1 lakh up to 2 crores on persons initiating frivolous and vexatious proceedings to prevent abuse and delays. So ab se wo fine lagega. Amendment bill also provides mandatory 14-day admission timeline once default is established. Default साबित हो गया है तो 14 दिन के अंदर admission होना चाहिए. For financial creditors, no other criteria required to be seen. Third criteria, sir, which is being brought in this bill, information utility. समय इसके कारण भी होते हैं कि आप ढूंढ रहे हो फैक्ट्स निकालने के लिए, इनके बारे में, इनके पीछे के विवरण, ये सब. अभी we are bringing an amendment to say information utilities maintains the record of the financial information which is required to be authenticated by the debtor, and this forms the basis of record of default. Based on this, NCLT can initiate the process. उनके पास जितने भी डेटा है वो उपयोग करो, ढूंढने का समय व्यर्थ ना करो. Don't waste your time on that. The next one, sir, adjudicating authority required to approve or reject resolution plan within 30 days of receipt. ये हल्का सा adjudicating authority के ऊपर भी हम एक mandatory रिक्वायरमेंट ले आ रहे हैं, क्योंकि जुडिशरी है, हम रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं उनके, फिर भी एक स्टेप आगे रख रहे हैं कि 30 डेज के अंदर, रिसीप्ट के अंदर आप इसको एडजुडिकेटिंग अप्रूव करो या तो रिजेक्ट करो. एंड द फाइनल थिंग इन दिस बिल, सर, टू अवॉइड डिले, क्रेडिटर इनिशिएटेड इंसॉल्वेंसी रेजोल्यूशन प्रोसेस, that is a new out of court initiation mechanism with compressed 150-day timeline. So out of court एक framework दे रहे हैं, उसके तहत 150 days के अंदर आप resolution पा सकते हैं. So all this is being taken up. As per the recommendation of the committee, sir, if an appeal is filed with the NCLAT, Appellate Tribunal, not the NCLT, they will have to dispose the appeal within 3 months. वो स्पष्ट अपेलेट ट्राइब्यूनल के ऊपर भी हम रिक्वेस्ट रख रहे हैं. बिफोर दिस देयर वाज नो टाइमलाइन. सब पांचवी इशू
नहीं, बहुत ये अच्छे सुझाव आए, कंक्रीट सुझाव आए.
थैंक यू सर.
क्योंकि सदन में मैं कई बार इसी विषय पर हमेशा प्रश्न उठाते थे देरी के मामले पर.
लोकसभा से आप देख रहे थे ये सीधा प्रसारण। इंसॉल्वेंसी एंड बैंक्रप्सी अमेंडमेंट बिल को लेकर के विचार और पारित कराए जाने के लिए वित्त मंत्री निर्मला सीतारमण अपना संबोधन दे रही थी और वो बता रही थी कि किस तरह से माननीय सांसदों के सुझाव मिले हैं। साथ ही साथ उन्होंने ये भी बताया कि अब तक सरकार ने क्या कुछ कदम आगे उठाए हैं। फिलहाल मेरे साथ इतना ही।